Oh. Okay, so this first question is surface area. Surface area of a cone equals pi r squared plus pi r slant. I need to find the slant, so I fill in what I know. Surface area is 1200. Surface area. Radius is 5. Radius, and then I just fill it in. 1200 equals pi times 5 squared plus pi times 5 times s. Then I simplify. 1200, 5 squared, 25 pi plus 5 pi s. And my job is to get s by itself. So I remind you, if you had 2x plus 3 equals 7, your job to get x by itself, you got to move everything away from x. So first I'm going to move this positive 3, minus 3, minus 3. Same thing over here. Right here, I have positive 25 pi. So I must have to subtract 25 pi. Now it's gone. I have to do the same thing over here. So now I have 1200 minus 25 pi equals 5 pi s. Now, so I've done that over here. Now I have 2x equals 7. 2 times x. I divide by 2, equals 4. I divide by 2, I divide by 2. Well, over here I have 5 times pi times s. So I must have to divide by 5 to get rid of the times 5 and divide by pi to get rid of the pi. So I do the same thing over here. And s is left as 1200 minus 25 pi over 5 pi. Now, if you need a real number there, of course, you go to your calculator, which I have right here. And since there's all kinds of stuff happening on these, in this question, I'm going to use brackets. Bracket 1200 minus 25 pi, and remember, some of you will have to push times pi there, close brackets, divided by, open bracket, 5 pi, close brackets, equals 71.4. Let's do the same thing here. Volume of a cylinder is 500, height is 20. Well, I know that volume equals pi r squared h. And I have a volume, and I have a height, an h. So I put them in. 500 equals pi r squared times h, which is 20. How do I get rid of times 20 and times pi? Well, I divide by 20 and I divide by pi. I have to do the same thing over here. So now I have 500 divided by 20 pi equals r squared. Now, when you're doing Pythagoras, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and you fill in what you know, 3 plus 4 equals c squared, 9 plus 16 equals c squared, 25 equals c squared. What is the last step here? You do the opposite of what you see. What is the opposite of square? Well, you know in Pythagoras you square root to get rid of that square. And you also know that if it happens once in math, it always happens. So I must square root both sides to get rid of the square. R equals the square root of 500 over 20 pi. And again, on your calculator, 500 divided by bracket, because 20 and pi are grouped together, 20 pi, close brackets, equals. There's the answer. But then I must square root that answer. And I'm using the answer key to get 2.82. The volume of a sphere is 7,602 meters cubed. Find the radius. Volume equals 4 pi r cubed over 3. You know the volume, so you fill it in. 7,602 equals 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. I need to get the r by itself, so I got to move everything away from the r. Well, this 3 is divided by 3. To get rid of divided by, I multiply by 3. So, first thing is 3 times 7,602 equals now 4 pi r cubed, because those 3's cancel. Now, how do I get rid of 4 and pi? I divide by 4 pi. I divide by 4 pi. Cancel, cancel. Now, I have r cubed equals 3 times 7,602 divided by 4 pi. Now, it would be a good idea to simplify this now. So I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to go 3 times 7,602 equals, and I didn't use brackets, I should have, divided by bracket 4 pi. So I have 1814.84. Now I'm going to write that here, 1814.84. 1814.84 equals r cubed. Now, to get rid of a square, you did the square root. So to get rid of a cube, you're going to do the cube root of 1814.84 equals r. Now, most of your calculators have a cube root button, but some of them don't. My calculator, it's really hard to find. It lives in this math section. See? Right there. Cube root. So I push 4, puts cube root there. Now I need the cube root of that, which is my last answer. So I can go answer. And I get it. 12.19, so 12.2.
Same age? Yeah. Younger? Same age. No.
Then you turn the page over. Again, what do I know here? I have a height of 100, and there's h. So 100 equals negative 4.9 t squared plus 12t plus a. Can you find a right now? You cannot. Why? You have two variables. All you can do is isolate a. So move that because it's minus. Move that because it's plus. 4.9 t squared minus 12t plus 100 equals a. That's all you can do. Solve for x. That means isolate x. So how do I do that? Well, a equals the square root of 2x plus 4. So to get x by itself, you've got to get through this square root. Well, to get rid of a square, you square rooted, so how do I get rid of a square root? I must square it. Square both sides. A squared equals 2x plus 4. How do I get rid of plus 4? I subtract 4. A squared minus 4 equals 2x. How do I get rid of times 2? I divide by 2. So a squared divided by 4, minus 4 divided by 2 equals x. And then I'm done because x is isolated. And lastly, I want to get x by itself. I have divided by 4. So I'm going to write it out. X over 4 equals 23. I get rid of the 4 by multiplying both sides. Boom, boom. X equals 92. Over here, I need to get x by itself, but it's in the denominator. So I got to move it. So again, I'll write it out. 60 over x equals 5. If I multiply both sides by x, cancel, I get 60 equals 5x. Then, of course, I would divide by 5, and x would equal 12. Now, you should see a shortcut. When x was in the denominator, I did 4 times 23. Or when x was in the numerator, I did 4 times 23. When x is in the denominator, I have to do 60 divided by 5. And that's a good thing to remember, which we've already talked about when we're doing conversions. Ask if you need to. Son of a motherless goat. It's from a great movie, Three Amigos. The right answers are highlighted in bleu. So close, but not right. The right answers are highlighted in blue. If you do not have what I have, what do you mark it as? Wrong. If you have what I have, what do you mark it as? Correct. Each square is worth how many points? 1. So you can get a total of 9 marks here. You may ask about any of them now. All the work is shown on here. It is being recorded. You should be able to check it later on your own time, because this is just conversions. What you have times the fraction of what you want. Sometimes you have to do 2 steps, like in the first square, the second square, the fourth square, the fifth square, the sixth square, 7th square, the 8th square, and the 9th square. But it's all the same math. If you do not have these answers written down, do not waste time writing them down now. Watch the YouTube video. All you need to do is go tick, tick, X, tick. That's it. Let us move along, cabbages. It's recorded. There are the next 2 answers. I will accept anything here from 5/8 to 3/4, because the photocopying is worse on yours than it is on mine. Here I will accept anything from 8 and 7. No, I lie, not 7. Sorry, worst kind of liar. 9/16 to 8 and 11/16. I will accept those ranges for those 1 mark each. There's no work to show there. It's simply how you read a tape measure. You can quite plainly see that from 4 to 5 has 16 little dots. So every little dot is 1/16. On mine, you can quite plainly see it ends right there. 4.5 is 8/16, 9/16, 10/16, 11/16. This one, half, is 4/8. And then 2 more 16ths is 1 more 8th, so it is 5/8. Painting question. Find one wall. It's 4x3, which is 12. But there's 2 of them. His wall is not a set on a TV show. He needs 4 walls. 12 is 1 wall times 2 is 24. 3x3 is the other wall. 9 times 2 is 18. 24 and 18 is 42. He wants to paint them thrice, 3 coats. He thought he could get away with buying cheaper paint. But turns out he needed to paint an extra coat, so he actually lost money anyway. 42 times 3 is 126 meters squared, divided by 12, 10.5. Can I go to Home Depot and say, oh, I need a half can of paint? No. You got to buy the 11th can. That is out of 3, making the whole first page out of 12. All the work is shown on here, so you can go back and look at it as you see fit. This page, I even color-coded it for you. The bottom in red, 8 by 20. There's only one of them. It's 160. Well, it's going to be one for each, right? One for volume, one for surface area. The orange at the front, 8 by 4 by 2. The yellow, 20 by 4 by 2. So you do all the math and you add it up and you get 609 for 1 mark. Then, for area of the base, that is the orange and the green. With the area of the base, of course, you add them to get 44.5, and you multiply that by 20 to get 890. This question, I gave you a million ways to do it, but I don't have room to show you a million ways, so I'm showing you my way. I find the surface area of the whole thing, which is right here, and then I recognize that those 2 green rectangles are the only thing missing, so I subtracted them out. Volume is, of course, the area of the base, which I highlighted in blue, which is 36 and 18, which is 54. And the height, which I highlighted in yellow, is 8. 54 by 8 is 432. Both of those were questions you have already done and have been gone over to death on page 31. Those exact 2 questions exist with a lot of explanation. So that was worth 2. Oops. 2. I only wanted a surface area of this cylinder. I will accept either 200 pi or 628.3. Whatever you have. This question. It's a bonus question. I only have 8 minutes. I'll come back to it tomorrow, but the answer was 1.79. Or I might come back to it in a moment. Cone, I will accept either 864 or 864 pi or 2,714 point blah. You needed a net, so that's worth 2, because you can't go fishing without a net. Good luck. And the 2 volumes here, I will accept either 29,269 and 1/3 pi or 91,952.32. And I will accept 1,296 pi or 4,071.5 pi. That's worth 2. So that's worth 4. This page is worth no points for the bonus question because it's bonus. That page is worth 2, 4, 5. So the whole thing is out of 4, and 5 is 9, and 12 is 21. I will get those marks from you tomorrow when we go over the bonus question, and when we go over algebra. You will be writing a test on measurement early next week, so Tuesday.